Okay, so I'm back in the studio again, and today we're going to do a bit of close-up photography. I'm going to photograph the moment a drop of water splashes down. Now that doesn't sound like it's too difficult to get, but trust me, it takes a little bit of practice. But you can make your life so much simpler by just setting a few things up first of all. So let's have a look at my little setup here. First of all, I've got something to catch my splashes in, which I've already filled with water. I've got this little old paint tray, which is perfect. The source of my water is actually just above my head. It's this bag filled with water, and in a moment I'm going to put a small hole in there, and that'll give us a steady stream of drops. Now that'll drop as a nice steady rate, but more usefully it'll also drop in exactly the same place every time, so that'll make life a lot easier when we come to the photography. The background here, I've got a white piece of paper. Now that white piece of paper is not really there as a background, but as an illumination, because we're going to fire a flash onto that white piece of paper, and that'll bounce down and light the surface of the water. Now for the lighting, I'm using off-camera flash. Now this is probably the only piece of equipment you haven't got lying around, but if you can get hold of one of these, I got this one off a well-known internet auction site for less than £20. This little wireless receiver attaches to the flash unit, and this little wireless sender attaches to the top of the camera. So when I press the camera button, the flash will fire even though it's not attached to the camera. Now I'm going to put some settings on the flash unit itself, so let's turn it on, and we're going to set the mode to manual mode because the wireless system doesn't work very well, it doesn't work at all on anything other than manual. We're also going to dial down the power of the flash as well, so let's dial it down to about 1/16 of its usual power. Now that should be enough to illuminate the water nicely, but without burning out all the highlights in the water itself. But it's not an exact science, this. You may find you want to change these settings as you're experimenting with the water. Okay, so let's get that all set up. We'll just put that onto there and aim it at the actual card. Notice I'm aiming it at the card and not at the water. So I want this light to light up the actual piece of paper, but not the water itself. That'll be lit by the bouncing off of the paper. So to set up the camera, what I've done is to put it into manual mode. So I'm taking full control over the settings. The aperture, I've stopped down to f8, which should give me the best quality out of my lens, but also give a reasonably good depth of focus as well. So the splash should be pretty sharp front to back. The shutter speed I've set to 250th of a second, which is the sync speed with my flash over here. Okay, so we're pretty much ready, everything's now set up, let's take some pictures. And the most important piece of equipment that I've got for this whole shoot isn't anything to do with cameras, it's this. This is a towel. This is your best friend. Water and electronics really don't mix well. So make sure you've got a towel handy, and preferably a lens cloth as well, to make sure you soak up any splashes of water that may get onto your camera lens or onto your flash unit. Okay, so the first problem you're going to encounter is focusing. Because although my drops of water are coming down at a steady rate and in a steady position, the camera's autofocus just can't cope. So what I've got here is a high-tech gadget. It's a biro pen, and this is going to enable me to focus on the pen, then switch to manual focus and keep shooting away. The knack is to put this pen exactly where the water is splashing. And because it's in the same place every time, once you've focused on the pen once, job's done. Okay, let's go for it. Okay, so that can go in there. Okay, we're going to switch over to manual focus. Now, it's a bit of a numbers game, this. The more pictures you take, the more chance of getting a good picture at some point. So just take lots of pictures. But keep an eye on the back of the camera. If that image is looking too bright, remember to turn the flash down or drop the aperture a bit lower so the amount of light hitting the inside of the camera is reduced and you get a slightly darker picture. Now, what about colour? At the moment everything's coming out pretty much white, but if you want to introduce some colour, there's two ways you can do it. The first way is to change the settings in the camera. At the moment I'm shooting on auto white balance, but I'm going to change the settings to tungsten instead. Now, changing to tungsten will change the colour that the camera sees. So now everything is coming out with a really strong blue colour cast. But what if you want to go for a completely different colour altogether? Well, there's a way you can do that too. What I've got here is just a sheet of A4 paper that I've printed off through Photoshop with this kind of red-blue pattern. So I'm going to replace this with the white background and see what difference that makes as well. Okay, so that's it. I've taken all the pictures and I'm really happy with the results. By trying to get everything right inside of the camera, we really don't need to do much work inside of Photoshop at all. The pictures look great and I'm happy with the results.